NFR podcast.
Listen, guys, welcome in. We've been teasing this for so fucking long, but you know what? It's finally here. I'm super happy it's here. We're doing our first episode, man, and it's finally being broadcasted on YouTube.
What an episode this is going to be, man. Our top 10 J.Cole songs. And I mean, it's so hard to narrow down J. Cole's career into just 10 songs. But I think that we chose, a lot of songs that are diverse within his catalog and that a lot of people are going to appreciate. So
Absolutely. And I feel as if one thing that you have to keep in mind, when you're going through a list is that at the end of the day, it's biased, right? You're not going to get everything right. You're not going to get everyone on point. But the thing is that I think one thing we could take away from this episode is that J. Cole has a fucking crazy catalog of music.
He does.
Too. So I want to ask you this straight off the bat, man. What do you think J. Cole means to you, and how has he affected his, your hip hop listening before we even get into the episode?
For me, he's just always been the most genuine hip hop artist, out there. And, he's just one of the most relatable artists. And
Absolutely.
I feel like that's why with every year, his fan base keeps growing and growing.
Oh, for sure, man. And not only that, but he's really consistent with his drops. I like it. He's always putting out great quality. And what's crazy is that you see him aging over the years and he never really has a dip down. I mean, people call his 2018 release KOD a bit of a miss, but in my opinion, it's a great concept album. I really liked it.
Too many people hate on KOD, and we're going to dive into that later, but it's so overhated, and there's, conceptually, it was a fantastic project.
Absolutely. So listen, I think it's only fitting that we do unveil who our guest is today. So we're bringing in someone that has a lot of knowledge, not only on J. Cole, but the whole Team Dreamville camp as a whole. He owns the Twitter handle at Team Dreamville. It's our boy Colin, so we're going to welcome in. Bro, Colin, welcome to the episode, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
boss.
it, guys.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. So listen, I want to start you off like this, bro. Introduce yourself and, let us know, what J. Cole means to you. Because I asked Luke, I'm going to repeat the same question. What does J. Cole mean to you? And, how did you start getting into J. Cole as a listener?
I've been a very avid J. Cole listener for about 10 years now. The first time I ever heard of him was on A Star Is Born, the Jay-Z song, which was, I think, an introduction for a lot of people. But after you hear someone for the first time, you're not just going to jump right into their discography. So over time, after that, he released Friday Night Lights and a bunch of those Lucy's from the project. And that was probably the time where I really started getting into him. And what he means to me as a whole is he just reminds me that you could become a rap star and remain a human being, you could remain so humble and so down to earth after achieving all your dreams and getting all the financial success, all the women and all the accolades. But what matters to him isn't what matters to 99% of the other rappers out there. So he's just a great reminder that there are genuine people in the music industry. And I look up to him a lot for that.
I think he's a great role model at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's just, he's the most humble and honest artist. And that really, comes out through his music. Before we dive into this top 10 list, just a reminder that the winner of our giveaway will be announced at some point during this episode. So just be patient for that. It's going to come soon.
Yeah, we have to keep it a surprise just because people are going to be fuckers and just skip through and shit. So,
yeah.
We made a little video for it. We announced the winner and shit. And, we screen recorded it. You guys could find that throughout the episode. But listen, let's go through the episode itinerary, bro. So we're going to be talking about, top 10 J. Cole songs. As I mentioned before, it's a biased thing. You can't, there's not a factual number one. And, honestly, any song on this list could be the number one pick.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
And there's so many that we wanted to include that we didn't have the space for at the end of the day. We'll talk about some of those later on. To kick us off, guys, we're starting off at number 10 with Lights, Please.
Oh shit, man. This is a fucking banger. So listen.
That's a classic.
I'm gonna let Colin introduce us to this song, man. I know you're a big fan of this song, and you mentioned that whole Jay-Z introduction at the beginning. So explain to us, what this means to Cole, and why do you think it deserves a spot in the top 10?
I think it was a song that lasted for him a long time, and it opened a lot of doors for him. And on top of it being a great song with the storytelling and with the beat and everything, like I said, it was a great way for him to break into the game because it was the one that helped Jay-Z sign him. It was featured on 3 of his mixtapes, well, 2 mixtapes and an album. It was just, he kept putting it out there and kept releasing it, and that song even just shows how to really push a record to its full capability, and he really delivered on that.
Totally, man. And what's fascinating is that, you know, that was the song that propelled him to superstardom.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was first released on the warm up in 2009, I believe. And, you know, from there, you know, Jay-Z heard it and he started getting business meetings with Rock Nation. And, you know, it was history from there on. Yeah. And then he re-released it on the Sideline Story, which is his debut album. Yeah. And I love everything about the song, you know, like you said, from the production, which he produced himself. Mm-hmm. And just, you know, it's such a motivating song. It really is. It gives you that motivation.
And not only that, but I feel as if when you're listening to it, it gives you a kind of a different perspective that we don't see much from Cole. Because, you know, as Colin mentioned before, Cole's fucking humble, man. Like, this guy's really on his shit, man. Like, you don't really hear him go crazy after, you know, the victory laps and all that kind of stuff. But I feel as if he was kind of in his bag here. And, you know, if he never dropped this, maybe we wouldn't, you know, see Cole in this light anymore and, you know, be on top of where he is.
Isn't it crazy that, I mean, after all the work he put in, because he had, you know, the Come Up and other mixtapes before that, but like, if it wasn't for this one song, you know, who knows where he would be?
Absolutely.
It's crazy that this one song is what propelled him to his fame.
I would definitely say it deserves a spot on the list. I mean, one, for it being a great song, and two, for that exact reason. You know, it did so much for him. You can't not shine light on it, you know?
Absolutely. And that's why it is at our number 10 position, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go on to number 9. And this is actually probably, I feel as if, the most known J. Cole song amongst the diehard fans. I mean, when this released, especially for how long ago it was, you know, what was your first reaction when you heard Let Nas Down? You know, and like, what were your initial thoughts on the track and shit?
I loved it. My initial thoughts were, I didn't know the story. I didn't know like the background story, and I didn't know all that until I hear it and from his perspective and just the way he spoke on it. I mean, I thought it was just an incredible song all the way around. Like he really brought you into his moment that he was having, you know, being, you know, borderline shunned by like one of his biggest influences that got him into rap. And he's saying that he doesn't approve of like that song. And I don't know, I thought it was just a really interesting story that you don't really hear. And for him to deliver it to that caliber on a song, I thought was the best way he could have possibly done it.
Yeah, and I think that this was kind of a breaking point in J. Cole's career, because this is the song that showed people that he's very transparent as an artist.
Absolutely.
He's willing to admit, you know, his own faults. And the story behind it actually is that No ID and Jay-Z were in the studio together. Sorry, No ID and Nas, not Jay-Z, were in the studio together. And Nas told No ID, like, yeah, I just heard this song Work Out, which has a lot of commercial appeal, and I don't fuck with it at all. I don't know why this kid J. Cole, you know, dropped that. And, you know, No ID spread the message onto J. Cole, and that's what fueled the creation of Let Nas Down.
Absolutely. And not only that, but I'm not sure if you guys know, but that whole, you know, the whole Workout track was actually being pushed by Jay-Z himself.
It was. Mm-hmm.
It was actually Jay-Z who was pushing him to go into that commercial route. And I feel as if that's such a fork in a road for an artist, is like, do I stick with my integrity, or do I go for commercial success?
He was at a crossroads.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I feel like, as much as J. Cole might not have wanted to make the move, I thought it was also imperative in his career that really elevated him to that next step, because even to this day, like, you hear a lot of girls, you know, just like the average music listener, like, that's like their favorite J. Cole song. And that means a lot, you know. It's like, to be able to just get yourself out there to that point, like, you know, like you said, it's a crossroads, but I think it was a necessary one.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, but I feel as if, like, once Cole understood that he can make that type of music while still keeping a healthy amount of, I would say, artistry respect. I don't know if I could word it that way, in his, you know, in his discography.
Artistic integrity, yeah.
Let's say artistic integrity. I'm sorry, I made that overcomplicated for nothing. But I feel as if once he realized that, that's just when J. Cole took off. Because, you know, if you think about it, bro, this guy has, I think, 5 albums, platinum, no features. Is that correct?
He has 3 albums that went platinum and no features, but all 5 of his albums are platinum.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, guy. Thank you for correcting me from that mistake. So it's kind of like, yo, this guy's still selling platinum albums. And Colin, I want to ask you, man, as a J. Cole fan, what side do you like to see, J. Cole go in? Do you want to see him more in like, his marketing bag and, getting those crazy marketable tracks that blow him the fuck up and that, hit the mainstream audience? Or would you rather see him more on his like, more on his lyrical side, something that, you could appreciate on your own?
Personally, I'm going to have to go with the lyrical side when he just really gets into that emotional storytelling, not the mainstream appeal. And I'm a huge marketing guy and I love anything that could open up an audience. But there's nothing like hitting the audience you already have where they want it, and me as a fan, selfishly, I prefer the more lyrical, in-depth tracks.
Oh, for sure. And I feel as if as a fan, you have to sort of like appreciate both sides of the art, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah, of course.
You have to understand that an artist has to eat, but at the same time, the artist actually has to, keep making good material and getting into his stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? I want to talk about this is because, right now we're at the list, we're at number 9. We're talking about Let Nas Down. And this is probably one of the biggest shifts in his career. Like this was a huge moment for J. Cole.
This is the point where we saw him really evolve essentially and, take these artistic leaps that we didn't expect from him. And just looking back at J. Cole's whole story, it's pretty fascinating to think about where he started from to where he got to now. It's amazing. I mean, at 12,
and how he got there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he didn't take the standard route, and the decision. I feel like the decisions he made in the moments that he made only made him a bigger, more likable artist, even though it wasn't the mainstream appeal or how am I going to sell this song the best? It was about how could I deliver a message to people, right? And even like with this album, like you said, it was a huge shift for him, and like releasing this album on the same day as Kanye, that was like a statement in itself.
That took balls.
I'm here, Kanye was like one of his biggest inspirations at one point too, and that was his moment to be like, hey man, I'm right here with you now,
and I'm ready to play.
And, yep. He's like, I'm not the little guy anymore. Like I'm competition now.
Absolutely.
And he really took that and he didn't miss a step.
And it's crazy how, he was musically inspired since the age of 12, where his two passions were basketball and music. And, he would hang lyrics of Eminem songs around his bedroom and just study those fucking lyrics, man.
Yeah.
Like he was a student of the game from the get-go, and it's incredibly impressive to see, the journey that he went on. He was born in a military base in Germany, and then, he moved to North Carolina, and he was a self-taught producer. He bought himself a piano and started making beats. I mean, this guy just did it all on his own, and he didn't take the shortcuts.
Absolutely, and not only that, for people that don't know, J. Cole also went to fucking college, man. This guy left.
Not only did he go to college, he graduated with like over a 4.0. Like,
this guy's a genius, man.
Straight A student.
This guy has a mind like no other. So yes, he did leave North Carolina. He went to college in Queens. After that, in 2007, he did release the Come Up, and I feel as if that's the first time people actually started giving him like sort of a recognition, a buzz. People start
to hear about him. Yeah,
absolutely. So around this time, were you listening to J. Cole, or when was the first time you actually got to hear J. Cole?
I never listened to. I didn't listen to the Come Up until years later.
Wow. Okay.
And I started getting onto him around Friday Night Lights, just like 2010.
2010.
Like that's when I was like. That was like, all right, like I'm a J. Cole fan. I'm gonna listen to everything that he's releasing. Like that was like the point. Like late 2009, early 2010, I would say, is when I was like, all right, like I get it. This guy is dope. Like I need to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, and coming back just to Born Sinner, I mean, just like I said, that was the artistic shift in his career, for in my eyes at least. And there was also the whole Dollar and a Dream tour where he made fans go into his concerts for the ticket price of $1.
Yeah.
Like that just goes to show, his character and why he's in the game, why he's fucking making music and touring.
Yeah, that was what I was saying before, is like the decisions he made, like that's exactly one of them. Like he could have sold tickets for $50 at that, $60, $70 at that point to pack that show up, but he did it for $1, and now that tour is like an infamous moment in his history. Like it's something that everyone who was there looks back on, and everyone who wasn't there wishes they were.
Absolutely.
And it's like, when's he going to do it again? When's he going to do it again? And that's how you keep lifelong fans, like,
yeah,
he thought of it really in the long term rather than the short term.
Not only that, but like he's a super humble dude. Like this guy. Imagine being able to create music like J. Cole can, and you're charging people $1 to come see you live, and like I remember when I first heard that, and I was like, holy fuck, man, where can I go watch this guy for $1, man? I'm like, shit, man, let me pick up my tickets. So going back to the timeline of the whole evolution, going back to 2007, that's around the time he actually founded Dreamville.
Yeah.
So talking about that, man, it's fucking crazy to see where this guy has brought that whole camp.
It definitely took time.
Insane.
It took time to get it to being one of the biggest labels in the music industry. But I mean, it's fascinating the talent that he scouted.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's something, and it's like it's been something that's been brewing for a long time. Like you said, he founded it so long ago, and like we've always known Dreamville was his brand, whatever. But I feel like within the last, let's say, 2 years, it really evolved into this like powerhouse of a unit, like a very family oriented, like just a huge, beyond a label, just an entire music community. And like what they did with the Revenge of the Dreamers 3 sessions and just that whole album in itself. And I think once they signed, I mean, they've always had amazing talent, but I think the turning point for them was when they signed Earth Gang and JID.
I actually couldn't agree more. And I think that was like 2017.
Yeah. And the year after, the following, when they were all releasing, like JID released the Never Story, Earth Gang was releasing those EPs, and then they just came with heat with the whole Revenge of the Dreamers sessions and that, the documentary that came along. Like that whole thing was just so well done in so many ways that we could have a whole podcast discussing
the rise of Dreamville.
just that whole thing. What they've been able to do since then, and can't wait to see what they do in the future. It's been a privilege to watch and just be a fan of an experience.
Yeah, you kind of sit back and you
Very
watch
inspiring.
You watch it and you're like, fuck, man, this guy's actually building, one of the, maybe one of the greatest labels to ever grace hip hop. It's definitely there.
Yeah.
It's in that conversation.
It's got that potential. It's got that potential for sure.
It's going to be in that conversation. I know that's a hot take to make at this point, but you already look at who they have on that roster and it's like, fuck, man. They have so much to look forward to. So listen, I'm going to jump into 2011. This is when J. Cole dropped a Sideline Story. And, this was obviously after the success of Workout, that had extreme commercial appeal. So I want to ask you, at this point in J. Cole's career, did you foresee him going, this far and like really getting to this, sort of legend status that he's at right now?
I've always thought he was going to be one of the biggest in the game. I never thought he would do it the way he did it, and that's not saying it in a bad thing, but I think just after hearing Sideline Story and those songs with it, and, just knowing Jay-Z as a businessman, like I would have, not personally, but, just knowing his mind and his thought making decisions, but he never really, what was I going to say? He never really
I think what you're trying to say is that he got there, but I don't think anyone really saw what was coming with J. Cole.
I think he was still trying to find his sound during that time, because
he was still figuring himself out, and it's just like I never saw. I mean, I saw he was going to be really big. But to where he's at now and how he did it was not something I could fathom at the time, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, in the mid 2010s, when we saw him become, one of the best rappers of his generation with the releases of 2014 Forest Hills Drive and For Your Eyez Only, and in the later years, we're just seeing how he's perfectly positioning himself to be this role model to the youth and to be this head of the label, because the Fall Off might be his last album. So I just feel like he's putting himself in the perfect position, and it's just he's going to go down with having one of the most important careers in hip hop history.
Yeah, his resume is stacked, man. It's super thick, and not only that, but you know, just looking at my notes right now, like fuck, man, this guy has done so much, and not only that, but through the 2010 decade, man, like I don't think there's anyone besides Kendrick and Drake that, you know, could really stack up against his resume. You look at you look at the Dreamville camp, you look at everything he's done on his solo success, you know, you look at how many of his albums have gone platinum and how he stuck to his artistic integrity. It's fucking impressive. And, you know, I think that's what
his moral integrity.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure, man. This guy has always kept a common collective head. I think the only time I've ever heard about J. Cole beefing with someone was that whole Diddy thing where, like, you know, Diddy like punched the fuck out of J. Cole.
Yeah, like, that was over the control verse, over Kendrick's control verse. And J. Cole was defending Kendrick.
That and, like, I think, like, some subs from Kanye. But other than that, like, he's been such a good character within it, and I think that's what we want you guys to get out of number 9. And let's get on to number 8,
which is Change from For Your Eyez Only. Colin, I know that this is a personal favorite of yours. Yes, I also love the song just because, you know, like the title of the song suggests, J. Cole is changing perspectives throughout the song. You know, in the first verse, he's, you know, rapping in the perspective of James, and in the third verse, you know, he's reacting to finding out that his friend James passed away. And, you know, we have Ari Lennox humming and providing some vocals over the track. She does a beautiful job. And it's truly a standout from For Your Eyez Only.
Yeah. Like, if I made a list, this would probably be my number 1 song.
Really? Wow.
I think so. Just like, and if I made a personal list, this would definitely be my number 1 song. It's just one of those songs that I think really display, like you said, it really displays who J. Cole is as a person, as he's rapping, subject matter, just the perspective he gives, just the overall, you know, vibe of the song. It's one of those songs that, like, when it comes on or when I play it, I have to play it like 3 or 4 times in a row just to, like, fully get it and fully feel it. And it's for me, definitely the standout of For Your Eyez Only.
Yeah, not only that, but, you know, if you go through the whole track, he talks about so much complex subject matter. You know, he talks about how crime is actually a religion for people from, you know, from where he's from, and, you know, through the whole oppression, and how people are stuck in this whole mode and how, you know, they have to get through it. And then, you know, he's talking also about, you know, potentially one day, you know, his kids being fatherless, you know, and what would have happened if it wasn't for him blowing up and shit. And, you know, that's obviously a scary situation. And it's kind of like, you know, he went platinum before this album. You know, he could have gone completely commercial. You know, J. Cole could have done his thing. J. Cole could have, you know, put out a bunch of working outs and shit, and, like, it would have worked. You know, it definitely would have worked. It's J. Cole, right? But what I love about this album so much, and let alone the song, is it speaks J. Cole. It's literally him barfing his mind on the paper. And I want to ask you this, man. I'm like, you know, do you think J. Cole's at his best, you know, when he's, like, going on his bar for bar type shit, or, like, you know, his punchlines, or is it more like when, you know, he's on, like, this sort of vibe where he's giving you knowledge, he's spitting game, and, you know, he's just letting his soul talk?
I love him both ways, but when, like, the second one, when he lets his soul talk and he just speaks his mind, I think he just delivers an amount of relatability that not a lot of other rappers can do. He makes you feel like you lived a story even if you didn't live it. It's just the way he describes it and the way he talks about it. It's just different, and I enjoy that. It you know, it opens up my mind, and it gives me perspective, because he's able to, because people don't realize he's one of those rappers that doesn't just rap from his own perspective. He doesn't make songs catered to his own life. And this album is an exact example of that. But when he's, you know, spitting that down to earth, you know, it just hits you. It's just super relatable. And it's, I mean, I love hearing his crazy wordplay and the punchlines and that, but it doesn't hit home like, you know, when you're just like,
so number 7 is one of J. Cole's most recent songs. Of course, it's off of Lewis Street, which dropped July 22nd of this year. And it's The Climb Back. And what a fucking return this was for J. Cole after not releasing music for 2 years. So I'm curious to know what your first impressions of that song were.
It was my initial favorite off the Lewis Street, the double-sided single. I love Lion King on Ice, but this one, I don't know. It was just that classic J. Cole. You know what I mean? Like, he produced it. It had that same feel. It's just, what he was talking about. It got me really, really excited for the fall off, because if he's staying in that sort of direction that we know and love J. Cole in, and we're going to be in for a treat.
Oh, I was super impressed, man. I was just like, holy shit, this guy still has it like that, man. And like, this was no KOD vibe. I feel as if like J. Cole kind of listened to all the criticisms that he got from his last release in 2018, and he came back with something that, not only silenced everyone, but it kind of showed everyone where J. Cole is still in the standings and everything. Because over the years, we've learned that a lot of people have played with J. Cole's name, and, it just hasn't ended up well for them. And, he's dedicated a whole song and outro, just towards that narrative. And another crazy thing about this is that I love the whole concept of it being like a whole climb back. Him sort of showing his dominance again, him, flaring himself, him coming in and giving that confidence boost that, when a person like me listens to it, I'm like, wow, okay, I want to feel like that. I want to have that sort of confidence.
Yeah, and that's actually something that he addressed in the essay for, I think, the Players Tribune or one of those magazines, where he said that there was a hunger in him that was lacking on KOD, and that now it's fucking back. And now he's ready to go on any beat and just demolish it. And that's what he did here. I mean, even if you look at the wordplay, you'll see how I flipped like exclamation points, guys weighing coke instead of pros and cons. Like, the bars are top tier, and this, in terms of rapping, this is one of his best songs ever. And I know that it's new. I know it's only been out for a couple of months, but it's really a top tier Cole song.
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
All around, I have to agree with you. Just from, the beat to the delivery to the lyrics, I have to agree. It's like I said, if this is what the fall off's going to be like, we're definitely in for a treat.
Well, I want to ask you that exactly, Matt, because we're talking about the fall off now, and it's such a taboo, fucking it's an elephant in the room.
It is.
I don't think I could put it any better.
Because no one knows when it's really coming. We think it's going to come in 2020, but
imagine it's actually not called the fall off. Imagine it's something.
Changes the title.
Imagine it's something completely fucking different.
I was actually had that thought like last week. Like, imagine. Because he's always been semi-teasing that the fall off is his last album. That's the rumor going around. But like, imagine he pulls like something like, Lil Wayne did when he said, "Oh, Carter 5's coming," and then he released like a bunch of different albums before that. And just because he's not ready to retire yet, it's like maybe he's gonna release some new album that we know nothing about, and that'll be great for fans, because then they're like, oh, he's not going to retire. But I hope this doesn't turn into like a detox situation. It's like he feels the pressure's too high to deliver on something,
Honestly, I think that he might drop in December, just because both For Your Eyez Only and 2014 Forest Hills Drive were dropped on December 9th. So I know December 9th this year doesn't fall on a Friday, so he won't continue that trend. But it's very possible that he ends off the year with the release of the fall off.
Yeah, not only that, but he could very well do it and execute it properly, because we talk a lot about marketing rollouts. We talk about obviously the pandemic has clipped a lot of people for for touring reasons and for interview reasons to do their press rollouts and shit. But honestly, J. Cole doesn't even need it, man. Like, I looked at KOD's rollouts, bro, and like, it was a tweet. It was literally a tweet. No billboards, no nothing, no commercials, literally nothing. A tweet, and then after that,
let the fans do the work.
Absolutely.
It's the power of the name.
Not only that, but didn't he he put up something close to 390,000 first week sales on that?
I think it was 350 or 360.
Oh, that's crazy numbers, bro.
It's fucking amazing, and he's gonna outdo himself, I'm sure of it. Just because if you look back at all of his albums, with every release, he sold more and more each year with first week sales.
It's insane.
His fan base keeps growing by the fucking year, and it's not going to stop.
It's insane.
Oh, it's not going to stop.
Insane.
And I feel like, given the current climate of America's culture right now, to hear J. Cole voice his concerns and opinions on that is exactly what the culture needs. And, he's the man to provide that right now.
He is, but I don't know if he's going to go into that direction just because, you know,
he did with Lewis Street, so maybe.
I know, but he's talked about it in the past, and especially when he's gotten called out on shit, and he's like, listen, you know, I am a college student, I did, you know, graduate, but I don't have all the answers, man. And like everyone's looking at me for answers, and I'm kind of here like, what the fuck am I going to do, you know? And honestly,
which is another reason I respect him too, because he's like, you know, he's like, people look up to me for all these different reasons, and you know, whether they have reason to or not, like I'm still just some guy, and I feel like I could be doing more, you know, like
sure.
He just always forgets that he's like some 5-star celebrity, you know. It's like
for sure. And there's always these jokes on Twitter, bro, when people post a picture of him riding a bike and shit, and they're like,
in the airport.
Oh, dude. Or him ordering like a McChicken at McD's or something.
He's so humble.
Has he actually done that? Has he like been photographed at McDonald's?
Oh, he has. Oh, yeah, there's a bunch.
I think it was a Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's been photographed everywhere, man. And not only that, but like people will post pictures of him with his dreads and shit, and be like, "Yo, this man's is selling platinum albums and shit. Bro, he looks like a fucking homeless dude." But listen, J. Cole's
like that Zach Fox quote.
Oh,
the Zach Fox skit on working out.
Oh my god, bro. Where's your charger, bro? Give me your charger. But listen, you know, we talked about the expectations for the fall off. It's I think it's gonna be a smash hit for him just because, you know, what I got from Lewis Street was really fucking strong. You know, Lion King on Ice was really good as well. It was a really good effort from him. And at the end of the day, man, it's J. Cole. You know, you kind of have to expect him to be in the zone and to come in and really, you know, sort of give it his all.
He's simply never missed, and I don't think that he's gonna miss at this point.
Okay, no, so let's move on.
He's already given us a taste of it, and based off those 2 songs, he definitely didn't miss.
Yep.
So,
all right, man. Listen, let's move on to number 6. We have another super iconic song from J. Cole, and this is one that actually resonates with a lot of J. Cole fans because I feel as if it's the first time you sort of see J. Cole get into his, not his feisty bag, but like something that, you know, he's
something kind of controversial in messaging, I guess you could say. So number 6, False Prophets. This was released in 2016 alongside Everybody Dies. 2 great singles, and you know, as far as just the lyrical content of him, you know, dealing with celebrity obsession and all the references to Kanye West, which have never been confirmed, that mixed in with the amazing music video, I think that this is, you know, one of his best music videos, and it's my favorite J. Cole music video.
Yeah, and he's mastered the simplicity in music videos. He mastered the low budget music video.
Yeah,
he never needed more than. He shows like you just need a camera and some creativity and
even the production. He took Joey Badass's beat from Waves off of 1999, fucking classic beat. And I'm just curious to know like how you guys felt about the topics that he addresses in this song and if he did it the right way.
I would probably say that he did do it the right way. I mean, he is a rapper, and if you're going to address another rapper or another artist, I think the proper way to do it is on a song. And the content of what he was saying, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm a huge Kanye West fan, whether it's about him or not, you know, but I'm a huge Kanye West fan, but you know, he's definitely somebody who is manic, and he has fallen off musically to some people, and I think that he makes a good point that you can't be worshiping celebrities because you got to worship the people around you and not look at them like superheroes.
Oh, for sure. And that's a really good point that you brought up, is not looking at them like superheroes, because, you know, these people are human, right? And regardless of the whole controversy around Kanye, either if it's the presidential campaign or, you know, any other comments that he's made in the media in the past, the whole TMZ thing or the paparazzi sort of things, or, you know, whatever Kanye's done, he's a human. You know, it is what it is. The guy's not a fucking robot. I mean, the guy can be perfect. And the reason why I think I respect Kanye so much is just because, you know, yes, he comes out and says things that are fucking outrageous and stuff that, you know, definitely shouldn't be said by a billionaire at this point. But, you know, that's why he's Kanye, because he's never been afraid to to bend that genre. But going back to J. Cole, I do think it was fitting to do this, just because, as a rapper, I feel as if, you owe a service to your fans to speak your mind and to give them, that sort of in-depth analysis of what you're thinking and, a certain topic. And J. Cole is, as we mentioned before, is always someone that's stuck to his game and, someone that's been such a profound person with himself and shit. And I feel as if this had to happen. If it's on J. Cole's chest, it has to happen. And it was at a time where, like, Kanye was still popping. Kanye was still doing huge merch lines.
It was during the Life of Pablo thing and kind of, that fallout that he had and when he went to, those clinics and whatnot. But, apart from that narrative, what was cool too is that on the second verse, he mentions his friend who is a struggling rapper and who is thriving so hard just to get that level of fame. And it's, it's the message is important because it's like, there's more to fame in this. You know what I mean? You should be doing this because you're passionate about the music and because, it's what you care to do, not just because you're chasing, that notoriety at the end of the day.
And the rapper that he addressing, I believe was Wale.
Yes.
He's been a close friend of him forever. And I don't remember the exact lyric that he used off the top of my head, but he says something like, why are you trying to like impress like so many people when you already have a fan base that wants to hear from you? Like, why are you so worried about the people that don't want to like hear from you?
Exactly.
Like, and that's an important message to anyone. It's like, whether you're a rapper or whether you're, just a normal person, like, why are you trying to impress people that don't fuck with you when there's already, X many people that do fuck with you for who you are and what you've given and whatever, but you should just cater to that.
Totally.
And that was a great message. And I think one that Wale needed to hear. And I think Wale even admitted to saying like, all right, like maybe you're right.
So we've gotten midway through the whole list and everything, and you guys have probably been patient because we've been teasing this giveaway for a while. So we're going to take a little intermission. We're going to run a video and, just congratulations to the person who won it, because at the time of the recording, obviously we don't know who's won it yet, but we're going to be posting the video right now.
So it's Thursday night. The giveaway has officially closed. And I just want to thank all of you who have participated because the turnout has been pretty impressive.
Absolutely. We were able to get hundreds of entries, and we ran this over 3 different platforms on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And listen, if you were smart, you guys would have listened to us and, entered on every single platform, so you guys get your extra entries. And not only that, but hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button. We're going to be doing this on the monthly, plus we have a fuckload of daily content that's coming out. So listen, Nick, let's switch to the screen, man. We're going to be picking our winner right here. So as you could see, we manually put in every single participant's in here. We put down every single name, and absolutely
time to generate this shit.
All right, let's go. So pick a random name on 3, 2, 1. Shit, imagine it deletes everything. Holy fuck. Okay, let's go.
Dami Lola Gray.
Holy shit.
Congratulations.
Listen, man, you just won a decade of free music. How the fuck do you feel? Holy shit, man. I feel like Oprah, bro. We're giving away some crazy shit right now. Wow, that's awesome, man. You must feel good right now. But listen, we're going to take you guys back to the program. It's awesome, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. It's midway through. Enjoy the rest of your episode. So, yeah, you guys should have just watched that, and, we're going to blend that in. I don't know how well I just did that whole blending thing, but
so
whatever.
Let's get back on track with number 5, where we have one of J. Cole's most personal songs ever, and it's off of KOD. It's Once an Addict interlude, and
a deep one.
This song nearly brought me to fucking tears, man. I gotta be honest.
It did bring me, like, I've been listening to KOD a lot lately, just like the last week or so, for whatever reason, and that song literally brought me to tears like a few days ago. Like, in all seriousness, and I just thought he just delivers an amount of emotion that you can't deny,
Yeah, for sure. And I feel as if this is one really unfair gripe with KOD as a whole, is because, like, people talk about it being like a bit like, I don't know, just not within J. Cole's realms and shit. But like, you listen to Once an Addict, Once an Addict interlude, and you're kind of like, oh fuck, okay, like, he's getting this personal type shit. He's talking about not even be able to be, he can't even recognize his mother anymore just because of addiction and shit. And that stuff, that sort of content matter is always welcome to my ears, because I just appreciate it. I respect it. I respect someone that in the past has put up, almost a flawless record. He has platinum records to his name. He has platinum albums to his name. and he's not afraid to dip into this bag now. You know, he's not afraid to get into his personal bag. Yeah. So I want to ask you this. You know, this is a very personal song. Not only to J. Cole, but I feel as if a lot of people could relate, you know, to the message that he's trying to convey in here. You as a J. Cole fan, you know, what's the one message you take to you and to your heart as a J. Cole fan?
From the song or in general?
In general, like through his music and stuff.
The one message I take from J. Cole is to be yourself to the fullest and remain human and love the people around you. Like, I know those don't sound like, you know, messages you would take from a rapper, but like, he's just that type of rapper that, you know, he just, I don't know, he makes you appreciate things around you more and makes you realize what's important. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's well said. Just to talk about KOD as a project, I feel like it's just super underrated in his discography, and people just fucking disregard it all the time, and you know, say that it's J. Cole's one miss, which I really do not agree with that. So I want to actually rank. I want to rank J. Cole's 5 studio albums in his discography.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
So we'll start with you, Colin. Starting at number 5, building your way to number 1. So we have, just to remind the fans out there, The Sideline Story, Born Sinner, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyez Only, and KOD.
So how would you go by this, bro? This is a bit of a tough situation. I think he's freezing up, man. Yeah, okay, no, he's back in.
So from 1 to 5?
Yeah, 1 to 5.
5 to 1.
5 to 1. Okay, let's do 5 to 1. 5 to 1 sounds good.
You got it. All right. So from 1 to 5? 5 to 1?
5 to 1.
5 to 1. Number 5. I'm sorry. I love Sideline Story. I love Sideline Story. I think it's a great album, but I'm going to have to put that at number 5. I think, but I will say that I don't know if it has his best singles, but I think it has a lot of his biggest singles and a lot of ones that have some of the most replay value even to this day.
Facts.
Number 4. This is hard. This is where it gets hard.
Oh man, yeah, this is hard, man. This is the crazy part about J. Cole, bro.
As much as we just said how much we love KOD, and it's not a miss, which I'm not calling this a miss at all. This is just my personal list. I'm gonna have to put KOD at number 4. After that, I'm gonna put Born Sinner, and number 2, For Your Eyez Only, and then number 1. 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
Oh, okay, so you okay. What makes you put 2014 Forest Hills Drive at number 1, and like, why do you think it resonates with you the most?
Well, for one, it just brings me back good memories and good times in my life, and I thought has a few of my favorite J. Cole songs on there. One of them is one that is on this list. 3 Adolescents. That song is one of my favorite J. Cole songs, especially the second verse that he has. For some reason that like really hits home with me, but I don't really relate to it that much. But I just think that verse in itself is like a scene in a movie. Like that's the way I look at it when I listen. Like I just picture the whole thing, and it's like, it's so crazy. And even just like the other big songs he has on Forest Hills Drive, you know, Love Yours, incredible song. No Role Models, incredible. Like all these, he just had so many big songs.
So many.
He really had no misses. And even Wet Dreams, that song gets a lot of hate, just I guess because of the subject matter. But like, it's a real ass song, and it bops. And if you can make a song about losing your virginity seem cool,
fuck it, run it, just run it, man. At this point,
so what would be your
just fucking run
really
it?
Did an accomplishment, and
no, for sure, and I do gotta agree with you that it does take you back to a time where you're like,
what's your guys' list?
Oh man, fuck. Okay, so who wants to start? You want to go first?
I can go first, sure.
Okay,
so at number 5, I also have The Sideline Story. I think that it's not a bad record at all. It's still a strong record, but it's at the bottom of the list. Yeah. Number 4, I have Born Sinner, which is again a strong effort, but just it doesn't crack my top 3. And number 3, KOD. And number 2, For Your Eyez Only. And number 1, 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
So I want to ask you, what puts that at number 1 for you, man?
It's to me his most consistent project. It's the project where he dives into, you know, the most diverse subject matter. You know, he covers everything about his life, and that was just the peak of him as a rapper for me. That's when he was really like, I'm the king of this shit, and no one can touch me.
Oh, I do agree with you. And not only that, but that whole narrative of going platinum. Yeah, go for it. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, just like the one thing that really stuck out to me to that project, I just thought the whole concept was incredible. One, naming it after his old address, his old house, releasing it in the year 2014, and then he bought that house so he can home single mothers for free. And I just thought like that whole thing just really showed a different side of Cole. It was just like, because I remember even on a song on Born Sinner, he says how he didn't even buy a house yet. And then the first house that he does buy is his old house, and he doesn't even use it for himself. Yeah. You know, it's like,
he's a humble dude.
Extremely selfless guy.
Mm-hmm. He's a very humble dude, man. And like he always has the best interest of others, you know, in his hands, and you know, he's always trying to do good for others. I'm gonna go on my list.
Yeah.
5, I'm gonna have to go Sideline Story. Same thing as you guys. Reason being, I think it's a great record, as Lucas said, and as you said as well, Colin. But you know, it doesn't crack, you know, the top 3 for me. And you know, it was more of his raw stuff. You know, it's, you know, there's a bit of gripes I have with it, but still, it's a fantastic record. I love it. 4, I'm going KOD, not because it's a bad record at all, like you said, Colin, previously, just because his top 3 is so strong for me. 3 was Born Sinner. I have to put it in the top 3 because I feel as if it's the record that really convinced me, you know, to become a J. Cole fan. Like, I listened to it and I'm like, shit, okay, like this is strong, man. Like this really cuts the cake for me. And not only that, but I saw a diversity of sounds in this project. I feel as if it's the crossroad for J. Cole's career. It's like it was able to tell him which direction he wanted to go into, and not only that, but it was a super solid effort. And there's some of my favorite J. Cole tracks on it. At number 2, I'm gonna be a bit different, and I'm putting Forest Hill Drives.
Really?
And I'm gonna put For Your Eyez Only at number 1, just because.
Why is that?
I feel as if it's his most personal album. Like, it speaks to my taste of hip hop.
I think it's his most focused album, is what you could say.
Oh, absolutely. Like the amount of themes and the amount of content that he's bringing you, for an Apple Music or a Spotify subscription, is really worth my money, man. Not only that, but I listen to it and I feel as if it gives me the same cinematic effect as 2014 Forest Hill Drives does, just in a different way. I feel as if like I feel like Cole was in just from like what I'm taking out of it emotionally, I feel like as Cole was more in like this depressed sort of state, more of like where he was talking about, you know, the sort of injustices he doesn't fuck with, and you know, just him, you know, challenging his mind as a human being, you know, presenting all of these different ideologies,
taking a big chance.
Oh, for sure. And not only that, but he was introducing such complex content matter. Like this guy was going on and, you know, introducing these topics, and I'm just kind of like, fuck, man, how do you even put this into a track, you know? And like, how do you make it sound good and coherent? It was just super impressive for me. He pulled it off flawlessly, and you know, at the end of the day, you could take any one of these albums and put them at number 1, and you know, I wouldn't slander you at all.
I could see, you know, any list, any top 5 J. Cole list would work for me, I think, because they're just all so good. And it's funny, like my first listen of For Your Eyez Only, I wasn't the biggest fan, honestly. I don't know if it was just like the setting I was in or like what it was, but I was just like listening to it and I'm like, I don't know if I like this that much, blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't go back to it like immediately. And then once I went back to it and like really like diverged it, I'm like, wow, this is like incredible. How did I not like this the first time? You know, it's like, I think probably the reason was because it was so different. It was so different from what I was used to from him, and I just expected something different. And that also told me that you can't expect anything from any artist, let alone him.
Oh, for sure. So I want to ask you guys this as a quick transition point into the second half of our list. And, you know, this is obviously some of his best material that he's ever made. You know, do you think that J. Cole has one of the most consistent discographies in all of hip hop? And, you know, where could he improve, let's say, you know, in the near future, if he drops, let's say, 2 or 3 more projects?
I think, yeah. I mean, he definitely has one of the strongest mixtape games in hip hop. That adds a lot to his catalog. And apart from that, I mean, he doesn't have an album, arguably below a 7 or an 8 on 10. And how many artists can you say that about? And, we're going to dive into his classic albums later. But, he has so many albums that have impacted the culture and that have, had amazing longevity within the hip hop community.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And not only that, but I feel as if he's a guy that always comes in and always performs. He's always trying to give you his best effort. And whenever you go into a J. Cole project, you could expect absolute quality. So on that note, we're going to dive on to number 4. I know this is another personal favorite of yours, Colin. We spoke about this song many times, and especially on the timeline. It's Love Yours. This is a song that is probably one of his most relatable. Yeah. And not only that, but I think it hits home with a lot of people. So, Colin, I want to ask you, why does it hit home with you, and why do you think it's one of his, maybe his most relatable song that he has in his catalog?
I think sort of back to a point I touched on earlier when I said that, like the reason I like him so much, it's because like songs like this, he literally, like just what the title says, to love yours, love the people around you and appreciate them. And it was just like a very beautiful song from the production and everything. It's like I said, it just makes you respect life and the people around you way more, and just reminds you what really is important.
It's such a beautiful message, I think. And, what's great about it is that, he's talking about the importance of being grateful for what you have in your life and to not be envious of others. And to me, this song always kind of felt like a therapy session between me and Cole, where he's really nurturing, and it's like he's speaking to you directly. And, not many other songs can give you that kind of vibe.
Not only that, but imagine providing that type of quality on only one track, and as you said before, it feels like you're sitting in, J. Cole's psychiatrist chair, like you're just sitting there and you're listening to this game of knowledge he has to spit to you, and you're kind of like, wow, like, he could do it all. Like, this guy could paint you a vivid picture with such complex rhyme schemes, but yet it sounds so well put together. And as you said before, his production is always flawless. And this is a song that I think resonates with a lot of fans and is relatable, just because, I feel as if a lot of people are trying to find, that self-worth within themselves and find, a different, let's say, motive or a certain drive to do better and be a better person. And J. Cole sort of highlights all of those narratives throughout the song, and I think that's why I love it so much. So listen, we're gonna go into the top 3. His top 3 is fucking stacked, man. These songs are all fucking heaters. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's some of his best material. At number 3, we have Before I'm Gone. And before we actually get into the track itself, I want to ask you this, Colin. We talked about J. Cole's mixtape run, and it's obviously one of the best of all time. Like, that's no doubting. We could talk about Mac Miller. I want to throw Lil Wayne in there. I could even talk about Logic. But J. Cole's mixtape game is fucking unprecedented. So I want to ask you about Friday Night Lights. Do you think it's the best mixtape to ever come out in the hip hop genre?
To say it's the best, I don't think so, but I think you could make a very strong argument for how it could be.
Okay, so let me ask you another question then. What would be your case for it then? Why do you think, if you had to defend it, you were in front of a fucking grand jury and shit, and your life's on the line, man. You gotta promote why this mixtape is the best mixtape you've ever heard, and you listen to it the rest of your life. Give me some of your reasons why.
For one, it sounds as high quality as an album, but it's a mixtape, so you can get it for free. It has so many huge songs that still lived on with him after it, like In the Morning with Drake, and it's there's no fillers, and it has just a mix of like everything you love from J. Cole, like Home for the Holidays, like just stuff like that is like, you have that, and then you have the big hitters like Blow Up, and it's just all around just a great high quality project with original songs, freestyles, just has everything you need from him, and I think it's a great, if I were to show like a new music fan like, this is what you need. This is J. Cole. I would probably show them this mixtape first.
Oh, for sure.
You know, just to like get it, like, this is what he's about. Before I even get you to the albums, just like listen to this. You'll have a great idea of who he is, what he's about, and all that.
Yeah, and he had, you know, around 20 songs on Friday Night Lights, and every single song was fucking solid. Like, do you know what it means in today's in today's era to have a 20-song project be consistent from start to end? That takes a lot of skill. And, you know, back to what you were saying about how it can, you know, be arguably considered the best mixtape of all time. I have to agree with that, just because, you know, it's up there with the 1999s. It's up there with the Live Love ASAPs. It's up there with the Drought 3, with the Dedication series. It's really one of those prestigious mixtapes, and I think it's one of the most downloaded mixtapes of all time on .piff. And there's a reason for that. It's because of songs like our number 3, Before I'm Gone, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it kind of feels like J. Cole's preaching about his community in this song, and about how cops are targeting people in his circle, and how he's witnessing this crime, and it's just fucking with him.
Yeah, it's fucking him on a point, and like you could feel his pain throughout the whole song. You know, and not only that, but he's rapping in this way that, you know, I haven't seen Cole rap like this many times. And Before I'm Gone is a perfect narrative for this. And, you know, it's probably my standout track, and, you know, one of my favorite J. Cole songs just for that, is because if you want to look at J. Cole's lyrical capability, you want to look at his content matter, you want to look at production, you want to look at flow, then that's all Before I'm Gone, man. Like, that's the perfect Christmas present.
And the production on that is so uplifting.
Oh,
it
is.
It's just fuck. It makes you feel, I don't know, just like,
and he ends that song with the line, "Never sold a rock, and look, I made it, bitch," which is kind of like it's taking away that whole, you know, stereotype of, you know, I have to sell drugs in order to make it out of my community. No, like, he stuck to the music, he grinded it out, and that's how he got to the position he's at now. And it's just it's a phenomenal song, and we get 3 verses from it, and every time that you get 3 verses from J. Cole in a song, you know that he's coming stronger and stronger with each verse, and it's a powerhouse of a song.
Oh, it's crazy, man. And, you know, it's his top quality stuff, you know. And if you could take the song and you could put it at number 6, you could put it at number 8, you could put it at number 10, but you have to put this in your top 10. It's one of his strongest mixtape songs, if not his strongest. And I feel as if it was also at a point where J. Cole was at his hungriest to make it, and you could really feel that, you know, you could feel that energy, and you could feel that presence through the track, where you're like, man, I feel uplifted. Like you said before, man, it puts you in a different zone. And listen, mixtape Cole is going to be forever loved. He was like, it's one of the most iconic runs in the whole mixtape run and mixtape era. And as you said before, it's such a standout mixtape. I want to go on to number 2. Number 2 is a fucking heater, bro. This song doesn't even make sense. This is one of the first songs that ever really got me into J. Cole heavy. Like, when I heard this, I was like,
He's different.
Oh, he's fucking different, man. This guy could really go on to any time zone. This guy's fucking aggressive. It's A Tale of Two Cities off of Forest Hills Drives. Wow. This is a song that just, it gives you 2 different perspectives, and at the end of the song, you're like, wow, okay, I got to replay that back and get Genius back on my phone.
And this is just, this is the full package. I mean, you have an exhilarating beat, and like you said, you know, you have J. Cole rapping from 2 different perspectives, and the way that he ties the story in together. And what's interesting about the title of the song is that it's based on a novel from Charles Dickens, which is also called A Tale of Two Cities, and it's about the conflict between the rich and the poor, which is exactly the same theme that he goes with for this song. And, you know, it starts off with a guy who, you know, gets jumped, and then the second part of the verse is the guy who jumped that previous character. So to see J. Cole, you know, reverse the roles and see the effects that violence has on their communities, it was brilliant for me. What were your thoughts on it, Colin?
I just, whenever I think of that song, have you guys ever seen it in a live setting?
No, I haven't. I have never seen it in a live setting. Yeah, crazy.
I just always think about it in a live setting when the beat drops and just everyone goes wild, and it's just, it's one of the, it's something like, it's something different from Cole in that matter, because he doesn't normally, like, you know, highlight his like hype stuff, but he's still able to get that lyrical side, you know, that storytelling side, that the real message that he's trying to get out on it. You know, he really did it right. But like I said, whenever I just always think of me being in a live concert when the beat drops on there, and it goes crazy every time.
Man, I can't even imagine being in that crowd, man. And I want to ask you this real quick, just because you got on the subject of live crowds. Who's the who's the first guy you'd want to see live when this whole pandemic blows over and shit? And like, who are you gonna go see?
Oh man, definitely J.Cole. If I had to make like a list of 3, maybe like a list of 5, I would do J.Cole. I really want to see Kendrick Lamar again in a live setting. I haven't seen him in like his own solo show, so that would be interesting. I want to see JID and Earth Gang because I feel like an Earth Gang show would just be crazy lit.
Oh,
and
it is. Trust me,
JID is a hell of a performer.
Yeah, Jid was
him
a crazy
too.
performer.
I haven't seen them live.
Oh, we have,
and
he's great.
Yeah. I've seen videos, but not experienced it. But I would definitely have to experience it. And the last one, which I'll probably set myself up for disappointment here, but Frank Ocean.
Oh, you'll never see that guy live. You're lucky, man. Wow.
I saw him perform at Bonnaroo a few years ago, but it was a festival setting. It was like right after Channel Orange.
Okay.
And I still need to see him in his own show though. I feel like I need that
own set type of vibe. Yeah, I know. I feel that, man. And especially when you're looking at an artist, I mean, you always have to see him in his natural element and something that he's created.
Like festivals, like, you know, you can catch a lot of people at festivals, but it's not the same.
Definitely not the same.
And just back to, you know, A Tale of Two Cities, I feel like it's one of those songs, along with 03 Adolescence, along with, you know, Love Yours, along with January 28th, that really propelled this album, you know, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, into that classic status. So speaking of, you know, that classic status, how many albums do you think J. Cole, actually projects, including mixtapes, how many projects does he have that are considered classics to you?
Yeah.
Globally or in my opinion?
I would say in your opinion.
Yeah, in your opinion. Let's go with your opinion.
I would say he has 3 classic albums and then 1 classic mixtape.
That's fair.
Okay, that's a fair take. Okay, so what are they? What would you go with?
The albums, Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyez Only, and Born Sinner.
Okay.
And then the mixtape, Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, and you know, we had asked this question actually on one of our older podcasts, and you know, you retweeted this snippet of ours where we were talking about, you know, what do we think? How many classics does J. Cole have? And the answers were so different in the comments section. We got a bunch of people saying like, listen, this guy only has 2 classics. Then, you know, a bunch of people were saying all of his shit is classic and iconic.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get your opinion on it and you're like, yeah, he has 3 classic albums and he has that one of those mixtapes. In my opinion though, I think he has 2. I'm going to be an asshole here. I'm going to be an asshole about it. I'm always strict with, you know, the way I rank discographies. I feel as if it's such an important part of an artist, and, you know, their past work has to be remembered. I gotta go with 2014 Forest Hill Drives and For Your Eyez Only. I think those are the only 2 classics he has to his name, and there's definitely.
Would you really not put Friday Night Lights in that conversation?
It's if am I putting Friday Night Lights in the same conversation as 2014 Forest Hill Drives?
100%. It's one of the best mixtapes of all time.
No, I agree with you, but
it's 10 years now that we can see the impact that it's had. And actually, just to counter you, I don't have For Your Eyez Only in my classics. I think that, like you said, he has 2 classics right now. For me, it's 2014 Forest Hills Drive and Friday Night Lights. But I think For Your Eyez Only will age as a classic. It's only been out for 4 years. Honestly, I like to give, you know, my projects a good 5 to 6 years to really age and to see, you know, what they've done to contribute to the culture and the impact that it's had on the culture. So I do think that For Your Eyez Only will age as a classic. But as it stands right now, I got 2014 Forest Hills Drive and Friday Night Lights.
No, I agree with you. I gotta say this. I feel as if, as far as quality goes and as far as, like, you know, impact goes, I can make the argument that Friday Night Lights is not in the same league as For Your Eyez Only in 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
It definitely has.
I mean, listen, man. Both those projects.
Today's rappers are studying that mixtape just because.
No one's studying that mixtape.
100%.
Come on, don't give me that bullshit, man. No,
they definitely are, man.
There's some artists that are definitely studying that mixtape.
100%.
I mean, listen. If I don't think you could put it next to 1999.
I definitely think you can.
At that point.
And I think a lot of people will argue, not me personally, 1999 for me is a little bit beyond Friday Night Lights, but a lot of people will make that argument that it's neck and neck.
Oh, come on.
A lot of people will make that argument. How many mixtapes?
I would even.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I would say they're about neck and neck.
Yeah.
But what I will also say is, I think Dedication 2 and Drought 3 are a step above them as far as classic.
Mm-hmm. That's
just
fair.
Because of everything. Because I think, like we're saying, there's artists studying Friday Night Lights, but there's still artists studying Dedication 2 and Drought 3 and Dedication 3, and they're making careers.
Oh, for sure. No, like, listen, I kind of worded that wrong. That's horrible on my part. I feel there's definitely artists going back to that mixtape. It has a fuckload of quality, and I spoke about it before, how iconic the mixtape is. I feel as if it's an injustice to put it next to his, the 2 albums that make J. Cole's career. I feel as if I have to choose 2 albums, if there's 2 albums that have made J. Cole's career and that have, gotten him to where he's gotten to, it's definitely with Forest Hill Drive and 4 Years Only.
I think you're just undermining it, in my opinion, because if you look at when Friday Night Lights came out, that was 2010, and that was the year that the Sideline Story was supposed to be released. But because they couldn't find their hit single, they didn't have their work out yet, he had to tie his fans over for a bit of time, and that was the fucking mixtape that he put out. And people...
So that's why I even essentially, when I said before, I kind of think of it as an album because of it's just that quality of music. And just because it was supposed to be an album, pretty much.
He blew people away, man. The hunger that he showed and just the raw lyricism, phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Friday Night Lights Blue, that was classic number 2.
Okay, fine. Okay, we'll have the conversation. Yeah. We'll say it is there. It's just, I'm picky in my discography.
I respect that you're keeping it off. I'm not mad at it.
No, definitely not. I love the mixtape. I really do enjoy it. And I get a bit itchy when I start arguing and shit. I get a bit heated when I start arguing, but
no, I do too.
You could definitely make the argument that it is a classic. In my opinion, it's not a top 3 project from Cole for me. That's my opinion. But nonetheless, it's still it's still a really highly rated project for me. So listen, on that note, we want to go on to number 1. And if you guys have been, listening to this all the way through and shit, we're at number 1 now. And the one thing I want people to take out of this episode is that J. Cole's music is timeless and it'll never be replicated. That's one thing that I have to say, is that this guy has a catalog.
Nobody could do what he did.
Oh my God. This guy has so much stuff in his
catalog. Looking like it. Nobody could do what he did without looking like they're just completely copying him.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's definitely a valid statement.
Yeah, he's a pioneer. Our number 1 song, our number 1 J. Cole song is For Your Eyez Only, which is the title track off of 2016's For Your Eyez Only. And this Great song, it runs at just a bit over 8 minutes long. And we get 4 detailed verses from Cole. And this is the track that truly ties the narrative together for the whole fucking album. And when the last second plays and you just finish the song, your mind's blown. You can't believe what you just heard and how, cinematic and powerful his storytelling really is.
Oh, not only that, but when I'm listening to it, I feel as if it's sort of like it's J. Cole Sing About Me. That's one.
That's a great way to say it.
Yeah, I feel as if that's where that song lies with me, and it's my personal favorite J. Cole song. It's a song that I have on constant rotation, and I think it's the first song that I actually go and visit whenever I'm going into For Your Eyez Only. And I'm gonna say this. It's a perfect hip-hop song. It's a hip-hop song that I can make the argument as a top 5 of the 2010 decade. It's a hip-hop song that speaks a lot of truth and that resonates not only with me, but I think the entirety of the population, just because no matter what ethnicity you are, no matter what type of person you are, what type of experience you've had, you could relate to this message. It's about being genuine. It's about really, sticking to you and understanding what's coming on, and this whole narrative of him, sort of talking to his daughter, I feel as if. And
talking to the daughter of James McMillian, right?
James McMillian Jr. Yeah. And, that whole thing of him leaving the whole project behind and hoping that they listen to it in the future. It's just What else do you want from a hip hop song? What else could you really get from a hip hop song?
Nothing. I mean,
there's nothing.
The only thing is like I don't think it really caters to like the mainstream listener, but that's not really who he was making it for anyway. So it's like he made it for the people that he knew who were gonna listen, his fans, what they wanted, and he really knocked it out of the park.
He totally did, man. And I mean, in terms of enjoyability, like you said, it doesn't appeal to the mainstream, but I go back to this song often, and you know, I really love listening to it just because you know, of the contrasting narratives of how, you know, J. Cole's path, you know, led him away from the streets, but you know, James's path was, you know, locked into the streets, and how he felt like he was trapped into that environment. And you know, he expresses a lot of sorrow and regret for the position that he kind of leaves his daughter in, and just the way that J. Cole formed this and packaged this into one song is fucking monumental. It's one of the best storytelling tracks of all time.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
And that's why I think I put it against, you know, Sing About Me and shit. And like, you listen to it and you're completely amazed. It feels like you're going through a movie. You know, it feels like you're going through the end of a movie, and you sit there at the end of the track and you're like, wow, this was fantastic.
I gotta watch this movie again.
Oh man, and I'm gonna go listen. I'm gonna go play this right after we finish this off. Actually,
yeah, I probably will too.
Oh man, I'm gonna dip in probably to every song we got on this list. But you know, to close off the
Are you gonna have like a playlist?
Oh, for sure.
These songs.
I think we're gonna have to make a playlist for the people. That was a good
top
idea.
10 J.
That
Cole
was a
song
good
playlist.
That was definitely a good fucking idea. And we're gonna probably update that as we go and shit with new J. Cole content. But listen, guys, it's been a great conversation. We've gone through so much J. Cole content, and you know, if you guys haven't already, you know, turn the notifications on for us. You know, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Obviously, we have so much cool shit coming. You know, if you guys like this style of podcasting, you know, just come in and listen. We have so many cool guests. Colin's our first one, of course. We thank him, and you know, I'm gonna leave you the floor a bit to, you know, to talk about you a bit and what you have coming up.
Well, I just want to first thank you guys for having me on. It's an honor to be your first guest, and it's been great talking with you guys, talking J. Cole, because we're three passionate guys about music, and we all have different opinions, but we're able to come together for this specific topic, and it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully people enjoy it as well. But anyways, I'm Colin. I run Team Dreamville, amongst other pages. I do a lot of social media management, music promotion, digital promotion. I'm a big golfer. I started this golf brand with my friends called Bombs and Bogeys, helping to cater to the average golfer and to get new people into the game and to sort of change the culture a little bit, make it more cooler and just something different to the game. And I can't wait for the fall off to come out. Can't wait for all the rest of the music drops to come out. And
and tell us, where could we actually find that merch?
Bombs and Bogeys Instagram, at Bombs and Bogeys. We have hoodies up right now. We just sold some beanies, some golf towels. Next season we'll have a lot more merch once the weather warms up again. But yeah, we want to, you know, just kind of help add a new perspective onto golf, because I feel, I don't know, the average person might think golf is like boring or stale or whatever, but we want to show people that it's fun and people can have a lot of fun with it, and because I enjoy playing so much, and it's just a great game. And if you guys are ever in the area, I would love to play with you guys.
Man, it's got a couple of rounds and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but whatever.
I'm down, man. Yeah, listen, Colin, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and we hope that we can have you on again in the future.
Hey, anytime.
And thanks to the audience who checked in today and who stayed until the end. Thanks for participating in the giveaway. We wouldn't be here without you guys, and it truly means the world to us that you tuned in.
Oh, absolutely.
Shout out to NFR Podcast, Not for Radio. They're doing it. They're doing the best they can. They got into a new studio, and they're about to blow up. So you guys definitely gotta stay in. Be sure to download this episode. follow up on their social media.
Colin's a fucking G. Colin's a G. I'm going to explain you a bit about Colin before we end off this episode. We have been trying to organize this for the past like 2 months now, and we have finally gotten it together. It feels so great that this thing is finally launched. Guys, you guys could hit us up on Twitter, on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at NFR Podcast. Twitter is at NFR_podcast. As I always say, if you guys want to fucking email us, I mean, go right ahead. I mean, I'm all worried about it. I'll probably answer you guys back and shit, but we're always open for discussion, and you guys could expect this level of content every single week. You guys come in, and it's only going to get better, guys. So welcome to the first episode, ladies and gentlemen, the NFR Podcast, and we're going to end this here.
Hell yeah.